so true.
And you thought that you'd be safe in your tower, insulated from the people below.
When will they stop?
But the truth has undermined your foundation by so many people now in the know. You thought that you'd see the day that you could just get away from the ones you betrayed, who raised their voices to say you won't be trusted anymore.
All right, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you're situated on this great, big, beautiful blue globe floating through the void of Yah's creation. It's such a Monday. It's a Monday, the 27th of October, 2025. And yeah, for a lot of people, this really is going to be a Monday. At least it will be in my book. Anyway, welcome to the WTF Reports. I'm your host, Dave vonKleist. And as always, our broadcast is brought to you in part by the Wave Watch. And I've been using it. I've been sort of having the feeling like I'm going to get a kidney stone again. Yeah. Oh, I've had a couple of those. Have you ever had a kidney stone? Believe me, you don't want one. I've battled them off and on for for the past over 20 years. I've had 3 different issues. So anyway, about a week or so ago, I started getting this cramp in my, right side. I thought, oh, not again. Anyway, I started using the Wave Watch and for kidney support and kidney wellness. And doggone if that pain hasn't subsided. It's not completely gone, but I don't know. Maybe I passed the stone. I don't know. But I'm telling you, folks, if you haven't checked out the Wave Watch, you got to do that, okay? Go to our website, TheWTFReports.com, and there's a pop-up that'll come there. It'll take you to some information about the Wave Watch. Do your own research. Don't believe me. I'm not here to just hawk stuff because I want to make money. I'm hawking it because it seems to work for me. It's helped me with my vision. I had another friend of mine who I loaned it to with back issues, and the report came back, well, the pain's gone. So, hey, what have you got to lose? Check it out. It's based on Tesla technology, Rife technology, and just do some research. I think you'll find it very entertaining, informative, and it just may benefit you to know this stuff. So anyway, yeah, check it out. Go to the WTFreports.com and check out the Wave Watch. Okay, that said, we've got so much stuff that has come out over the weekend. More and more internet sleuths are doing their job. I mean, thousands of people all over the country and indeed all over the world are looking at this Charlie Kirk assassination and saying this whole thing stinks to high heaven. And I think we all know that. And so I'm going to dig into that. Some of these audio clips I'm going to be playing, you've heard before. I played them here before, but we're going to connect the dots. We're going to put the puzzle pieces together, ask the question, who benefits? Okay. And also you have to ask the question, is there any entity or person or organization or anything like that that was threatened by what was being revealed? Exposure could be a really bad thing for certain people and certain groups and certain countries. They don't want that. No. So anyway, okay, so where do I start? I got a bunch of clips here. They're all tied in. They're all related, okay? Now, yours truly has been screaming for the past 2 years about what happened on October 7th. I have mentioned this video documentary numerous times, over and over and over again, asking people to do your own research, look at what's going on, and come to your own conclusions. All right? Now, there is a documentary out there, and it's on Rumble, and it's called Israel Was Behind the Attacks on October 7th, 2023, and it was an inside job. It's a documentary by John Henke, all right? You need to watch this, because this has testimony from IDF soldiers, security personnel, military officials, and you can see with your own eyes, listen with your own ears, and come to your own doggone conclusion. All right?
Oh, that's just a conspiracy theory.
Okay, here we go. Conspiracy theory. Okay, again, a theory is just an idea, a supposition. If there's no evidence whatsoever, it remains a theory. But once the evidence begins to reveal itself, it becomes a possibility. And the more evidence that you gather, the more probable the conspiracy is. This is common sense. This is not conjecture. This is facts, okay? So we have to be factual. We have to have an open mind to look at the evidence and come to our own conclusion. But there are some folks out there that don't want you to look at the evidence. They don't want any people asking questions. And I find it very curious that TPUSA is silent. They are absolutely silent when it comes. Well, they're not necessarily silent. They're pushing the official narrative. Tyler Robinson did it. Tyler Robinson, yep, he's the guy. We're going to prosecute him. We're going to find him guilty. He will face the ultimate justice. We shall turn the page. We shall stop asking questions. Nothing to see here. Move on. Sit down, shut up, stop asking questions. Well, guess what? I got a word for you folks at TPUSA. No. I'm not going to be quiet. And for them to be attacking all of the people who are doing the investigation. Candace Owens, bless her heart, I tell you, she is under inhuman pressure right now. She's taking hits from every different angle, and those angles are protecting something. As a matter of fact, there's a whole slew of articles that have come out. I'm just going to read you some of the headlines. Let me see. This comes from, what is this? This is the A Audit News. Headline, The Audit That Changed Everything. Candace Owens reveals the hidden file behind Charlie Kirk's downfall. Now, what they're getting into is that this article gets into checking into the finances, the donors. Where's that money coming from? Okay? Now, God forbid you should ask those questions. Yeah, Candace Owens is on it, so we have to attack Candace Owens, right? Another headline. This comes from, let me see, what is this? This is Top News. I realize these are not mainstream outlets, but you know how far I trust the mainstream. About as far as I could throw a bus. And I think you listeners out there would agree with me. And by the way, that theme song that I used to open the show every day, You Won't Be Trusted Anymore, I wrote that 30 years ago, folks. You think this idea of fake news was Trump's? No. I've been screaming about this for decades. Okay, headline. The official story of Charlie Kirk's death is crumbling, and what's emerging is a tale so shocking it threatens to redefine trust itself. And this gets into taking a look at Charlie's wife, Erika Kirk. And if you haven't looked into her background, you need to do some digging. Yeah, she's got some very interesting history behind her, as do her parents. Yeah, the internet sleuths are hard at work looking at every single angle of this murder. Okay, let me see another headline here. Let's see. This comes from News Social. Candace Owens is now alleging Charlie Kirk's widow and insiders know who was really behind his death. Taking the controversy to a stunning new level, Candace Owens has made the explosive claim that powerful billionaires were threatening Charlie Kirk in the weeks before he was killed. She alleges that Kirk was on the verge of exposing massive financial misconduct within his own organization, Turning Point USA, after ordering a secret internal audit into a shadowy division handling millions in donor funds. Where were those millions coming from? Owens suggests that Kirk's widow, Erika, and other high-level insiders may have knowledge of these threats and the internal power struggle that could have led to his death, claiming the official story of a lone gunman is an elaborate cover-up to protect powerful and wealthy figures from exposure. What was in the secret audit that may have cost Kirk his life? The details of the alleged financial scandal are jaw-dropping. Okay, that's another article. Okay, let me see. Here's another one here. This one comes from, Let me see. Is this News Nation? No, that's not News Nation. I'm not quite sure where that is. Viravo. I can't even pronounce it. But anyway, the headline says, "It was never an accident," unquote. Candace Owens finally breaks her silence, and the name she just dropped, no one saw coming. Who could it be? It's pointing to Erika again. This is interesting stuff. Now, a lot of people don't want to entertain the idea that Charlie could have been betrayed by his wife. But if you follow, Erika's history, since before she met Charlie, this is where things get interesting. All right, here's another one here. Let me see. Oh, yeah, this one, headline. Candace Owens is risking it all to expose what she calls the ultimate betrayal. She claims Charlie Kirk wasn't just murdered, he was set up by those he trusted most. With tears streaming, she has unleashed a bombshell theory. Kirk's private exit route was leaked to his killer. She's pointing fingers not at a random radical, but at a hidden enemy within his inner circle. Her accusations are tearing the conservative movement apart, forcing everyone to question who really wanted Charlie Kirk dead. Okay, well, let me see. Okay. I mean, that's just a few of the articles that are out there. A lot of people now are starting to look again at what Candace Owens is doing, and of course, she's being attacked relentlessly. She's looking for clickbaits. She wants to sell her beauty products. She's crazy. She's lost her mind. She's evil. She's a monster. She's this. She's yeah. Guess what? The lady doth protest too much. Anyway, I want to start getting to some of these clips, but getting back to this issue about the October 7th attack. Now, don't think that these two issues are not related. I mean, here I started out talking about the October 7th thing, and then I switch over to talking about Charlie's assassination and Candace Owens. Guess what, people? These are all puzzle pieces, and they all fit together. We all have to have the courage to look at those puzzle pieces and start forming the big picture. Now, a lot of people don't want to do that because when you start to see the big picture, you get to look into the eye of the beast, and that's terrifying. You have to face reality sometimes, and as they say, the truth is a bitter pill. So a lot of people don't want to even attempt to take that pill. Well, we have no choice, folks. If you want the truth, you have to fight for it. Okay, so, all right, first of all, let me go back here. We were talking about the October 7th attack. Now, Ben Swann, bless his heart, he's been an investigative journalist, not a propagandist, but an investigative journalist who brought this issue to the table. Here is Ben Swann in his report about exactly what we were talking about, the stand-down order on October 7th. Here it is.
YouTube has now taken down a video in which Charlie Kirk questioned whether or not on October 7th, the Israeli government issued a so-called stand-down order.
Okay, I'm pausing it. That's right. YouTube took it down. Why would YouTube take down that interview? It was on the PBB broadcast. Anyway, you're going to hear it again.
Was there a stand-down order?
Here it is.
Was there a stand-down order? 6 hours? I don't believe it. Israel's the size of New Jersey. When I took a helicopter ride from Jerusalem to the Gaza border, it's 45 minutes. Wow. 6 hours. They're live streaming the killing of Jews. Did somebody in the government say stand down?
Well, the reality is that Charlie Kirk, in his questioning, was exactly right. Last year, we put together a series of videos specifically about October 7th. And in it, we talked specifically about this issue. Was there a stand-down order that was issued by the Israeli government that prevented the military from going in and rescuing people, taking them out of this situation where they were being held by Hamas? Again, what Charlie Kirk said there was correct, but here's the proof that backs it up. And once the Hamas attacks began, the time it took the Israeli army and rescue teams to arrive, fight, and rescue Israelis at the different kibbutz communities and sites being attacked, well, that ranged anywhere from 4 hours to more than 20 hours. Even the New York Times has reported, quote, thousands of soldiers were less than 40 minutes from the towns that were under attack. So why did it take so long for help to arrive? And we've discussed how days before the festival, 2 entire brigades of soldiers were taken away from the area of the Gaza border and then sent to the West Bank. And you might think that immediately upon receiving information of a devastating attack on partygoers, military authorities would alert units to immediately exit their bases, race to the site of the conflict, and go on the counterattack, right? But that's not what happened. Haaretz reported, quote, at 7 a.m., the party organizer called Lieutenant Colonel Elad Zandani, the man tasked with approving the festival, and told him that terrorists were shooting the partygoers. He suggested that they fend for themselves. The first IDF forces arrived at the party scene at 3 p.m. That's 8 hours for a response time for one of the most efficient, capable, and well-militarized security forces in the world, operating in a country the size of New Jersey, with their Gaza division only a few miles away. What makes it even more strange, around 4 hours into the Hamas assault at 10:46 a.m., Israel was already launching operations and bombing targets inside of Gaza. So hold on.
Whoa.
Let that sink in.
Let that sink in. They could respond to Gaza and bomb Gaza, but they couldn't rescue the partygoers.
If Israel could begin an offensive attack into Gaza within 4 hours, why did it take more than 6 hours? In most cases, more than 10 hours. And in some cases, 20 hours.
20 hours.
To mobilize inside their own country to stop the ongoing attack.
Yeah, why? How did that happen? Why did that happen? Come on, folks, you can do it. You can do it. Think outside the cage. You can do it. Oh, my gosh. So, we're putting puzzle pieces together here. Okay, now we're tying in the October 7th attack. Okay, October 7th. That's important because it was 2 years ago plus what, 2 weeks at this point? Just over 2 years. Well, let's listen again. Okay, another puzzle piece. Okay, Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner being interviewed by Leslie Stahl on 60 Minutes, and listen to what happened here. Steve Witkoff said the quiet part out loud, and if you could see the video, when he said this, Jared Kushner, his jaw fell open, and he looked, and he was almost speechless. He was like silently saying to Steve Witkoff, "What are you saying? Shut up! Shut up!" Listen to this.
Well, part of the plan is the reconstruction, the rebuilding of Gaza. Mm-hmm. And you're builders, you've been in real estate. As you said, it's extremely complex. Tell us more about the plan and how much it's going to cost, where's the money going to come from, and who's going to award the contracts? 3 questions.
I think it's going to cost a lot of money.
What's a lot of money?
The estimates are in the $50 billion range. It might be a little bit less. It might be a little bit more. I happen to think that that's not a lot of money in that region. You have governments that are going to jump on in. And
so the Middle East countries are going to provide the money?
You'll see European participation and so forth. I think the beginning of this plan is how to get it going. And that's what me and Jared work on all the time.
Listen carefully.
Money raising, we think, is the easy part. We think that happens relatively quickly. But it's the master plan, and we're working with a group of people who have been working on master plans for the last 2 years.
Oh, stop right there. Listen again. I'm going to back it up. How long have they been working on this master plan to rebuild Gaza when they haven't even destroyed it yet? And maybe that's why they were bombing Gaza instead of going to rescue all the people who are being attacked on October 7th. Listen again.
We're working with a group of people who have been working on master plans for the last 2 years.
There it is. He said the quiet part out loud. And like I said, Jared Kushner, his head jerked when he looked at Steve Witkoff, and his mouth fell open. This is extremely telling, folks. Are you putting the puzzle pieces together? Now let's back up a little bit. Now, I was just sharing you some of the headlines about the investigation that Candace Owens has been doing into the finances. Let's go back to what Charlie Kirk said.
Jewish donors, they have a lot of explaining to do, a lot of decoupling to do. because Jewish donors have been the number one funding mechanism of radical, open border, neoliberal, quasi-Marxist policies, cultural institutions, and nonprofits. This is a beast created by secular Jews. And now it's coming for Jews, and they're like, what on earth happened? And it's not just the colleges. It's the nonprofits, it's the movies, it's Hollywood, it's all of it. It's like time for you guys to wake up and say no more. Draw a line in the sand. I don't care if you hate me.
That's right. So, are you putting the puzzle pieces together? Again, it comes back to the money, right? Another comment from Charlie Kirk in regard to the finances.
Jewish communities have been pushing the exact kind of hatred against whites that they claim to want people to stop using against them. Now, I don't like generalizations. Not every Jewish person believes that. But it is true the Anti-Defamation League was part and parcel with Black Lives Matter.
Okay, I'm going to pause it. I call them the Anti-Defecation League because they're full of crap.
It is true that some of the largest financiers of left-wing, anti-white causes have been Jewish Americans. They went all in on woke, and it wasn't just ADL. It was some of the top Jewish organizations in the country that have done that. In fact, we have seen this with the recent retreat of Jewish donations that are no longer going to be administered to colleges, right? Mark Rowan, Leon Copperman. Can we get that full list? It's very powerful. The part of the so that's totally true. And by the way, Tucker Carlson reinforces this. So I'm going to it was quite a day on the internet. Tucker Carlson was interviewing Candace Owens. We have Candace Owens coming up next hour, and Tucker Carlson mentions that Jewish Americans have primarily been financing cultural Marxist ideas. We said this, by the way, last week, and people came after us.
We were on top of it.
We actually said it in a different way. We said, I'm glad that Jewish Americans are reconsidering their financing of cultural Marxism. And people misunderstood it intentionally and slandered us as being anti-Semites. But listen to this. Tucker Carlson is completely correct by saying this, that the philosophical foundation of anti-whiteness has been largely financed by Jewish donors in the country.
Bingo. Okay. So are you starting to put the puzzle pieces together? Now we have to ask the question, who benefits or who would want Charlie's voice silenced? He spoke out about the October 7th stand-down order, which we all know is true now. He was speaking about the Jewish finances. He was talking about all the donors. All right? And what do you suppose the result was?
My fear, Senator, and I hope I'm wrong, and let's stay in prayer that I'm wrong, that someone is going to get shot the same way that Steve Scalise got shot, and God forbid, killed. The left is creating a pressure cooker with so many of their rank and file paramilitary troops that very well might result in one of us getting shot or killed. God forbid that happens. We're getting death threats every single day here on the Charlie Kirk Show.
Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? Okay, I got more, but I got to take a quick pause for the cause.
Get More Tank will save you money every month on gas. Get More Tank is a tablet with active ingredients that adds big mileage to every tank. Made in America, the Get More Tank formula is used by trucking companies and heavy industry. Now the Get More Tank formula is available to you. Get More Tank works in any gas or diesel engine, cleans your engine, lowers emissions, and you'll feel improved engine performance every time you step on the gas. Get More Tank works for cars, trucks, boats, motorcycles, four-wheelers, mowers, and blowers. Hey, if you got an engine, then Get More Tank. Contractors, electricians, plumbers, painters, and lawn service companies, Get More Tank will save you money and extend the life of your engines. If you're an owner-operator running your big rig around the town or across the country, Get More Tank will save you money too. If you're a farmer, all of your equipment can use Get More Tank. A 5-pack on sale at GetMoreTank.com for just $22.22 plus shipping. Use the promo code REDPILL101 and get 10% off. Save your money, save your engine, save the earth at GetMoreTank.com. Get More Tank is EPA registered, doesn't void warranties, results vary.
And you can get More Tank by going to our website, TheWTFReports.com. Click on the sponsors page, and there's a window there that says Get More Tank. And when you click on that, you can visit their website. Has all the specifications and details, how and why this fuel catalyst works. Not a fuel additive. It's a catalyst. It makes your fuel burn more efficiently. It cleans out your engine. You get more power. And after a couple of tanks, you'll start to see your mileage improve. And I mean improve a lot. Anywhere between 15 and 20% better mileage, depending upon your make, model, and year of the vehicle and your driving habits, of course. But the point is, though, is that when you purchase Get More Tank, you get 5 tablets. Once your engine is conditioned to using this, you're going to see 15 to 20% improved mileage. And that means with one purchase, this stuff pays for itself and more. You're going to save money. Your car runs better. It's a no-brainer, folks. Go to our website, TheWTFReports.com, click on the sponsors page, and get more tank. You'll thank me for it. Okay. All right, I'm going to continue on this particular line of inquiry because there's so much here. Now, there's the next issue. Again, I have to thank all of those researchers out there. Candace Owens, if somebody's out there who can tag Candace Owens, I would love to talk to that woman and congratulate her. I'm behind her 100%. And I know she's, like I said, she's facing inhuman pressure. And, she's in fear for her life, her family. And I'm sure that the threats just are relentless. She's under an inordinate amount of pressure. And she's still standing by it because you know what? I think that she loved Charlie. As a matter of fact, I've seen the videos of how they interacted. They really enjoyed each other's company. I think they cared very deeply for one another, which is more than I can say than some of the staff on the TPUSA. I mean, they're doing everything they can to just turn the page, move on, shut up, nothing to see here. Shame on them. Anyway, okay. Oh, gosh, there's so much to think about here. Oh, my word. Okay. The internet sleuths out there, and they've been going through all the video footage, and if you've been online and if you've been going through, TikTok or X or, whatever, yes, these videos are surfacing. And some of these videos, you have to look and say, wait a second, this doesn't make sense. And in this particular case, Charlie's number one man, his chief of staff, is a guy named Mikey McCoy. Now, Mikey McCoy was shadowing Charlie everywhere he went. I mean, they were in the car together. They go to lunch together. They were probably in the same hotel rooms together. The bottom line here is Mikey McCoy was his number one guy. Okay? Now, what happened the day that Charlie was assassinated raises very, very serious questions. Because if you've seen the video, Mikey McCoy had a backpack, a white T-shirt, and a baseball cap. And anyway, when Charlie was shot, okay, Mikey McCoy was just to Charlie's left. If you're looking at Charlie, that would be on the right side of the stage. And you could see Mikey McCoy not more than like 8 or 10 feet away. And he's got his phone in his hand. And then when Charlie gets shot, now you would think if Mikey McCoy was Charlie's best friend, his number one guy, you would think that he would jump to try to help Charlie. But that's not what happened. He didn't even flinch when the shot rang out. He put the phone to his head, he turned, and quietly walked away. Would you walk away if your best friend was shot? No. Anyway, he continues to walk around behind the tent, and then he's seen emerging on the other side, calmly walking away with the phone to his ear. And meanwhile, everybody else is tending to Charlie. And then later on, when they hauled Charlie off and put him in the SUV, in the SUV because there was no ambulance there, and that in itself is a good question. With 3,000 kids there, and there was no EMTs there in case of an emergency, that stinks. But as they're hauling Charlie away, Mikey McCoy is probably 60 or 70 feet off. You could see him in the distance walking away on the phone. Ryan Mata drew attention to this, and again, I want to give kudos to Candace Owens, to Ryan Mata, to Ian Carroll, to Megyn Kelly, to Tucker Carlson. All these people are being raked over the coals right now because they have the audacity to ask questions. Anyway, I'm going to play this. I think there might be a bad word in here, but Ryan Mata, bless his heart, he was talking about the Mikey McCoy issue, and then you're going to hear a woman who somebody just asked her, and I'll tell you, the regular people are figuring this stuff out. They're saying the same thing I am. Here's Ryan Mata. Listen up.
I don't know if you guys have been living under a rock for the last, couple days, but let me fill you in on what you missed this weekend. There's this guy named Mikey McCoy. Mikey McCoy was Charlie Kirk's number 2. Him and Charlie Kirk were boys. This dude followed Charlie Kirk around the entire morning, and I mean the entire morning, like right on his ass, filming every second of Charlie Kirk's life. This is also the man that they're kind of guiding right in to be Charlie Kirk's replacement. This is the guy who got Charlie Kirk's letters. This is the guy who's talking about Erika Kirk being, J.D. Vance's VP. This is the new Charlie Kirk, right? This man was right by Charlie Kirk's side literally until the second he got shot. And before Charlie Kirk's body even hit the ground, Mikey McCoy didn't even turn around to check and see what his boy did. The shot gets fired, and this dude pulls up a phone, puts it to his ear, and starts walking away.
The minute Charlie Kirk gets shot, Mikey McCoy was standing before he got shot. Mikey McCoy is just looking at his phone, standing literally like here, you're there. He gets shot, and Mikey McCoy goes to the back, doesn't go to his friend. His Charlie Kirk is his guy. He runs to the back, and the video shows him on the phone. And then you see more and more that they're taking the body and bringing it into the van, and he's all the way over there on the phone. The next thing is, who was he on the phone with? The wife. Why wasn't he helping his friend? Look, if you got hit by a bullet right now, what would I do? Right? Seriously, I would try to help you. This is abnormal. And they don't want you to talk about it. They don't want you to connect the dots. Israel, Israel, Israel. That's what Rob McCoy, the father of Mikey McCoy, is a big born-again Christian, Turning Point USA pastor, and another video where he says, "You anti-Semites, don't you talk about this. Don't you talk about the millions and millions and millions of dollars are on the line."
Yeah.
Just 1 or 2 days before he got assassinated.
He's been giving interviews. Charlie Kirk was giving interviews that he didn't believe for a second that October 7th could not have been stopped. He believes that it was set up, that they knew something was going to happen, and they were told to stand down. And now we're seeing step by step by step. And you know how we know? By 60 Minutes, the American 60 Minutes interviewing for Barry Weiss, gay woman, Israel, IDF lover, paid by Larry Ellison, again, to love Israel again. Let's love Israel again.
Yeah, let's love Israel again. And she got that wrong. It was Steve Witkoff. But that's okay. You just heard the audio clip here. Steve Witkoff saying that they had the plans for rebuilding Gaza for 2 years, which indicates premeditation for as far as going in and with this Gaza effort. Netanyahu. Oh, man. God's chosen people, right? Anyway, okay, so you just heard Ryan Mata and this woman here who was discussing the exact same thing. Why did Mikey McCoy walk away? Mikey McCoy, again, I've seen the video. He was 8 to 10 feet, more or less, away from Charlie. And as soon as Charlie was hit, he hadn't even fallen over yet. Mikey McCoy turned and walked away. He walked around behind the tent. This is not right. There's something wrong with that. So, if Mikey McCoy was 8 to 10 feet away, and as soon as Charlie was shot, he turned and walked away, he wasn't there to help Charlie. No, he was not. So, now let's listen to Mikey McCoy's dad, Rob McCoy. Yeah, what did he have to say? Listen to this, folks. It gets interestinger and interestinger. Again, I remind you, Mikey McCoy was 8 to 10 feet away, and before Charlie hit the ground, he turned and walked away behind the tent. Now, here's what Mikey McCoy's daddy had to say. Listen to this.
I'm looking at my son who's 24 years old. Justin's the CFO, Chief Financial Officer, and Mikey's the Chief of Staff. And I'm watching. The minute Charlie was shot, he called me, says, "Dad, Charlie's been shot in the neck. Please call every pastor and pray." I said, "Okay, son." He has wits about him. He was just directing. He had blood all over him. And
what? Yeah, wait a second. Yeah, you just heard his dad say he had blood all over him. That didn't happen. We've got the video. He didn't even go near Charlie when Charlie came down. So why would Rob McCoy say, my son was covered in blood? No, dude. No, it wasn't. So this just makes things look even more like a cover-up. So are you putting the puzzle pieces together? Who do you think would benefit from silencing Charlie's voice? You've just heard one clip after another, after another, after another, after another. We all know that Charlie was not a stupid man. Now, we've all been snookered. We've all been, fed a line of horse hockey sometime in our lives that we actually believed. But the proof in the pudding as to what kind of a person you are is when you're presented with evidence that that is opposed to what your belief is. Well, common sense should tell you that you change your beliefs. But unfortunately, there are a lot of people that have a hard time doing that because of ego and pride. No, I don't want to be proven wrong. It's more important that I'm right than what the truth is. This is one of the problems with the left. They're more concerned with their emotions than they are with the facts. And that's unfortunate, but that's basically what you're up against. So the point is here, if there is a huge cover-up, and I do believe there is, look at the official narrative. Every day that goes by, another hole comes up in the official narrative saying that Tyler Robinson is the guilty party. But there are those there that don't want you to think outside that box. No, you can't do that because we've got to prosecute this case. Listen to what Kash Patel said. I played this last week. I'll play it again. Listen to this.
I think that the militant trans issue really became familiar to the American people last month when Charlie Kirk was killed. You guys at breakneck speed found this guy, you identified him, you profiled the type of person that he would be, and that's incredible. Is there more evidence that you guys can offer to people, maybe video from that roof? Do you expect that there will be more to be released? Okay, I'm going to pause it right there. The interviewer says, oh yes, at breakneck speed, what a great job you did. Oh, pat on the back, a little kiss of the ring. Yeah, okay. So what's your response, Kash? What do you got to say?
I think the best thing we can do for Charlie, especially me as FBI director and our team, is to prosecute this case in the courts of law. Okay,
he wants to prosecute the case. That's the priority. Let's continue.
It is in Utah in the state of court of law. And what we're going to do is what we've done. Give them every piece of evidence we collect.
Okay, I'm going to pause it again. Why have they placed a gag order on all 3,000 attendees at the Utah campus there? Why is it that they're asking people to delete the videos that they took on their phone? Why do you suppose that is? They don't want the truth. I want the truth. You should want the truth. Anyway, let's listen more.
Our cellular analysis systems are the best in the world, and that's what the FBI does, and that's what we flew in and did. That's how we led the manhunt and got him in 33 short hours.
Oh, what? In how many hours? 33. That's a significant number. If you know, you know. Wasn't it? Yeah. Remember during the COVID scare? We have 33 new cases. Yes, it was 33 new cases. Yes, we found out that we've increased the number of COVID cases to 33. 33. 33. 33. 33. 33. 33. 33. What is it about that number? If you know, you know.
And every single piece of video or forensic evidence or witness interview, we've done dozens and dozens, gone on these platforms, found every single person. All of that material, and I know this is frustrating to the public, and I understand it, but I'm not going to allow the Charlie Kirk prosecution to be dismantled because we want to get over our skis and publicize information.
Okay, he doesn't want that prosecution to be dismantled. In other words, we're going to go full speed ahead, damn the torpedoes. We're going to prosecute Tyler Robinson. Get this over with. America, sit down, shut up, and just do what we say. That's basically what it is.
That is the one thing you cannot do. We will make everything public in court. It just takes time.
It does. Yeah, it always does in these cases.
And that's John Solomon interviewing him there.
Is there any possibility that other people were involved? When you talked at the White House, I sort of got a little inkling that maybe you're looking at other people.
We're looking at everyone that was there, that was online, and we're looking to refer these matters to the state prosecution authorities when there's enough evidence. But the reality is, again, with social media, when you have hysterical conspiracy theories,
hysterical conspiracy theories. Okay, they're not just conspiracy theories; they're hysterical conspiracy theories. Don't think outside the cage, in other words.
In the void, you're harming Charlie and his family and a rightful prosecution.
And a rightful prosecution? Right.
His alleged assassin, who we have in custody, and rightly so, in my opinion.
We have his alleged assassin in custody, and rightly so. You get it?
And if anyone helped him, do you think that we at this FBI are literally going to let them get away with it?
Of course you will.
Us standing silent in the face of growing conspiracy theories, that's what we do to shut down a faulty prosecution. That's what we do to shut down a system of justice that wants to be exploited by these same anarchists. And that's what.
So if you're a conspiracy theorist, if you're thinking outside of the cage, if you're bringing up more information and presenting new evidence, you're a real problem for them. Well, of course you are, because they have their agenda.
They're doing. They're bringing it to social media. They're bringing it online for clickbait, and we're not going to take it. We don't care what you say about me or Dan Bongino or anyone in leadership at the FBI. They're just going to keep doing the work.
Well, that's not a song that Kash Patel is singing. He doesn't want the truth. He wants to prosecute the case, get it over with, turn the page. That's what we're dealing with, folks. I'm sorry, but I was just talking about how we all get fooled once in a while. You know, was it Mark Twain or Samuel Clemens who said it's always easier to fool people than to convince them that they've been fooled? Well, again, we have to swallow our pride and shun our ego and realize that we got snookered. That's right, all of us Trump supporters, yeah, we all believed Kash Patel and Dan Bongino and Pam Bondi and all of the others who said, yeah, day one we'll release the Epstein files. Day one this, day one that. They lied. They lied, folks, and we bought into it. And I'm sorry, I know that there are a lot of conservatives out there that still love Trump. Oh, yeah, I'm MAGA 100%. I'm MAGA 100%. Trump for now and forever. Yeah. Guess what, folks? You have to consider the fact, well, the possibility, I should say, that we've all been snookered. We've all been flim-flammed, scammed, lied to, manipulated, and in some cases, made fools of. I don't like that idea, and I know you don't either. But we have to face the possibility that that's exactly what's going on. And you know, we're not the only ones who want the truth. People all over the world. I mean, right after Charlie was assassinated, there were memorial services going on in South Korea, in England. All over the world, people were listening to Charlie Kirk. His voice was resonating all over the world. And the powers that be are terrified by anybody who happens to have that level of influence. Personally, I believe that's why they took out John Lennon. His voice was resonating all over the world. They had to take him out. Yeah. And I think it's a very similar situation here with Charlie Kirk. Anyway, there was a British woman who was talking about this exact topic, and here's what she had to say. Bless her heart.
You might have silenced Charlie Kirk's voice, but let me tell you something. Though we might not be blessed with his future opinions, his future conversations, and his future discourse, you have single-handedly guaranteed the amplification of absolutely everything that he has said in the past. In silencing his physical voice, you have made his message much, much louder and 1,000 times more abundant. You have awoken something that can never and will never be put to bed. And you've ensured that Charlie's voice not only becomes a legacy, but a revolution. Silence is complicity, and you have failed. You believed that ending his ability to talk would mean that his voice would fade into oblivion, into nothingness. But you couldn't have been more miscalculated. For what you've done is ensure that his voice lives on, louder than it ever was before. We will make sure of that, for our livelihoods, for our future, for freedom, for safety, for democracy, and most importantly, for Charlie. Charlie never asked for an eternal legacy, but we will make goddamn sure that he has one. Charlie Kirk is not gone. He's not gone, and nor will he ever be forgotten.
There you go. She's choking back the tears. You could hear her sniffling. But she was echoing the sentiments of millions, tens of millions, very possibly hundreds of millions of people from all over the world. Because he was exposing, he had to go through his own revelation. I mean, for years, Charlie Kirk was a very staunch supporter of Israel. But he had to come to his own conclusions. He had to face the reality of the situation that he had been lied to. He had been manipulated. And that's not an easy process to go through when you have such a firm, strong belief etched in stone. And then you find out that it was a lie. And that's the process that Charlie was going through. I've been playing the audio clips. He was exposing the corruption of Israel, its financial influence, and what was going on, as far as October 7th is concerned. And you've heard the audio clips here. Steve Witkoff said, yeah, we've been planning this for 2 years. And you heard Ben Swann reporting that, on October 7th, rather than going rescuing the people being attacked, they decided to send more bombs into Gaza. So that was their priority. That has been their priority from day one. As a matter of fact, that has been Israel's priority since 1948. And of course, the people who support Israel saying, well, these Palestinians, we have to teach them not to hate Israel. Oh, I see. After 78 years of oppression, of imprisonment, of torture, of occupation, of bombing, what do you expect the Palestinians to do? Bake you a cake and say, we love you? Well, of course they're going to hate you. I mean, any Palestinian 7-year-old who watched his parents get blown to bits and watched his sisters and brothers get killed, what, you think he's going to grow up and like the people who did that? This is the only life that these people know. All they know is being attacked and bombed and oppressed and beaten and tortured and raped. This is the life that they live. And we Americans, oh man, I'll tell you, Game 3 is coming up tonight. World Series. Oh, did you see the football game yesterday? Did your team win? That's where our heads are at. Shame on us of Americans, because when other human beings are being destroyed, it's destroying us as well. People have to understand that we are all one. We are. And when you kill somebody, you kill a little bit of yourself. I don't know. I don't even mean to get all esoteric about it, but I mean, these are cold, hard facts, folks. You get what you give. Karma is real. But anyway, I wanted to focus in on this and give you a bunch of puzzle pieces so you can put them together yourself. And like I said, I applaud all of the internet sleuths and investigators out there who are thinking outside of the cage. And I wish that somebody would go ahead and tag Candace Owens, tag Ryan Mata, Ian Carroll, because I've been through this crap. I went through this 20-odd years ago when I was on the front lines of the 9/11 issue. And I wouldn't bow down and take certain things out of my documentaries because somebody said, oh, you can't prove it. If you can't prove it, you can't talk about it. Well, if you can't talk about it, you'll never prove it. So I was sort of semi-blacklisted from the 9/11 community, which is fine. I wasn't in it for the ego stroke and never will be. And it was never about the money. Yeah, right. Oh, by the way, I want to thank Joyce out there. If you're listening, I thank you for your contribution. You're making a big difference. You know, we do have a GoFundMe page. If you enjoy this broadcast, if you want to help it to grow, we do have a GoFundMe, and you can make a donation there. And I thank Joyce for doing so because I do have to update this mixer. I'm an analog guy in a digital world. And in our efforts to improve this broadcast and turn it into a podcast and have the video so you can actually see these video clips that I'm playing the audio portion of, I need to upgrade this, which means we have to get more platforms, get more computer power, blah, blah, blah. And I had to get a new mixer because the mixer I'm using right now is analog. There's no digital output. So thank you, Joyce. You've made that possible. So I'm going to be doing some upgrades to the equipment here sometime next week. But anyway, aside from that, I want to ask you folks out there, if you can tag any of these other researchers, I'd love to share my personal experience and what it's like to be persecuted and, called names and all that type of stuff. As a matter of fact, I remember there was somebody, and I know exactly who it was, and I know why they did it. They put up a website, it was in the mid-'90s. Oh, gosh, this is laughable. I look back on it. I was pissed off when it happened. But somebody made a website. It said that I was a descendant of the Nazis. And when you go to the website, your cursor turns into a little Dave vonKleist head with a Hitler mustache on it. It was laughable. But and they also went after my daughter. So I know what it's like to be attacked. Not to the level that Candace Owens is facing. Certainly not. But no, I've been there, done that, and I wore out an entire wardrobe of T-shirts. So, and if you don't believe me, well, then go ahead and vet me. I'm not stupid, I don't lie, and I'm not crazy. Okay, you can vet me. Just go ahead, use the Wayback Machine. Go to GulfWarVets.com or go to ThePowerHour.com. All the documents are there. All the stuff is there. You could do a YouTube search. A lot of the stuff that I did has been taken down, but all my music is out there, and I don't care. It's not about the money. And I think that when money becomes the object of your desire, then you're already, destined for failure. It's not about the money. It's not about the accolades. It's not about the praise or, somebody's going to recognize you as the person who broke the story. I don't care about that. I remember during the height of all the 9/11 issue and everything like that, when I was traveling around the country, driving cross country, I'd stop into a Flying J to pick up a cup of coffee and a banana. When I go to check out, somebody would say, "Hey, are you the guy that did the 9/11 videos?" I say, yeah. Oh man, that was so cool. Okay, that's not comfortable. I don't like it being, not being able to be in public and, maintain my anonymity. I can imagine what it was like for people who get super famous, like Elvis Presley or Michael Jackson or John Lennon or something like that. The world becomes your prison. So I'm perfectly happy to, be at the level that I'm at right now, So anyway, I just looked at the clock. We're almost flat out of time. Well, I hope you've enjoyed the broadcast today. A lot of good information, trying to get it out there as quickly as I can. And it's up to you to spread the word. All right. Well, that hour went by quickly, didn't it? Well, if you're enjoying the broadcast, and I certainly hope you are, if you're listening on BitChute or Rumble or YouTube or Facebook or any other platform, I humbly request that you click like, share, subscribe, and above all else, word of mouth. Tell your friends, your family, your coworkers. Say, look, there's a broadcast you really should hear. And that's how we grow. Anyway, that said, again, I thank you all for your listenership, and if you want to do business with us, that's good. If you would like to make a donation through GoFundMe, that's good too. So anyway, that said, we're flat out of time, so I'll be back again tomorrow for Taco Tuesday. So until then, God bless you all. Stay safe. Stay free, doggone it. And I'll see you tomorrow. God bless you.